Yeah, you guys, welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Bachiru. So in this video, I want to discuss my end of season 1 Guilty Gear 5 tier list. So I feel like I've played the game long enough, especially with the latest patch, just to see who are strong in my opinion, and who are the characters that you can actually just main and start winning tournaments, you know. So I've divided the list into 5 different tiers, so we'll go over them, we'll explain a little bit about each one, and I'll be placing like where I think each character falls into this tier list. As usual, guys, if you enjoy the content, please support your boy by liking, subscribing, comment, and let me know what do you think. Do you agree with this tier list, or you have different placements of your own? Alright, guys, let's begin. So practically I broke down the tier list into 5 different tiers. So pay to win, in my opinions, are the characters that are kinda busted or kinda problematic right now. So they are in, like, I feel like they are a little bit affecting like the competitiveness of this game, but they're not characters that you pick up and like you immediately start putting results. I feel like still these characters has a learning curve that you need to master, but reaching their full potential, I feel like they're really problematic. The second tier, which is like the top tiers, are the complete package. So basically they have everything, they're really strong, and you can easily win Evo with these characters, to be honest. I feel like these characters have no weaknesses, and basically these are the characters that are above the rest. I feel like the other characters below that tier, they have very hard time competing with those characters. The third tier actually are solid, which basically they're like really good characters. They don't really have like much obvious weaknesses, but they still can compete with the higher tier characters. They have like good tools, but they're not like extremely strong as the complete package characters. They do have weaknesses, but I feel like with few buffs, these characters can really jump into the complete package and they can start to be strong characters. Has flaws basically are characters that are okay. They have their strong tools, but they have like really obvious weaknesses that like really hamper their gameplay. And I feel like these characters that cannot really win tournaments on their own. I feel like you have to pick a side character just to get over like some of that like really tough matchups. And finally, we have the lacking tier. These are characters that are weaker than the others, and I feel like they still need some work actually to bring them to a more competitive level. Just something to keep in mind. In my opinion, I feel like in Strive there are no really trash type characters. I feel like all the characters are strong, but the way that the game is balanced, like there are obvious choices to be made and characters to pick, and I feel like the strong characters are generally easier to play, to be honest, and I feel like you can get results really quickly with those characters, so why bother picking lower tier characters? But again, play whoever you like, have fun, and we have season 2 coming, so you never know. Okay, so let's start with the pay to win. In my opinion, the only character that's really problematic right now in the current season of Guilty Gear Strive is actually Happy Chaos. My problem with a character like Happy Chaos is he doesn't really need to play the game. Guilty Gear 5 is a very offensive game with like weaker defensive mechanics. So Happy Chaos, like, he has the proper tools just not to play offensively. He can really be laid back. He can really like threaten you like from full range. And I feel like he's a character that really break the rules of what a zoner should be. Usually zoner characters are slower characters. They need to stay full screen, and you really need to have like control over where the projectile goes. The way that Happy Chaos's projectile work actually is like they lock onto the opponent. So basically, you just like it's really fast in my opinion, and you don't really need to think like where you will zone. Should you zone high? Should you zone low? I feel like this really helps a character like Happy Chaos. The other thing is that Happy Chaos can really regain his zoning resources quickly. So reload is fast. He can stop it anytime he wants. He can like cancel into it from other things. So that makes him really strong. The third thing actually is the curse. The curse is such a strong tool, and I feel like the hitbox of the curse is really big. I feel like reduction of the hitbox of the curse, like curse ball thing, really needs to be done. I don't know about the duration, but we will see. And finally, which I feel like is like his biggest gripe in my opinion, is basically the guard crush. I feel like he gets guard crush really easily, and with the way that chip damage work in this game, it's really something really tough to deal with. And to be honest, combined curse with guard crush, like, and the very high reward you get from it, he doesn't really need to commit. So I feel like that's why I don't think they need to destroy the character or they really like to redesign the way that he plays because I don't like to like really drastically change characters. But my biggest like recommendation for them if they will do something about it in season 2 is practically just maybe nerf the guard crush and nerf the hitbox of the curse ball and make him work a bit harder for his running to be rewarding because the way that like for example like the risk gauge works and the damage works in this game, he doesn't really need to commit. So I feel like he needs to have risk and reward in his gameplay, and that's something I don't feel like he has a risk right now. The character really developed since he was released, and I don't think anyone was expecting like Happy Chaos to be such a problem. But we will see really what will happen in Evo, because that's where we will see like real offline play. So we'll see, maybe something different will change. Okay, now let's jump to the complete package characters. So as I explained, these are like the full deal. Pick them, you can win tournaments with these characters, don't worry about it. The first character that falls in the complete package, in my opinion, is definitely Leo Whitefang. Leo Whitefang is such a problematic character, in my opinion, because he has everything that you need in a character. So he has damage, he has good neutral, he has excellent projectiles, he has some of the best like pressure and mix-up in the game, and he really has like a really excellent DP, and he's a character that can really like turn the tide of a match really quickly. I feel like Leo is really strong, to be honest, and I really hate fighting that character. But my place, like I'm placing here not because of my emotions, like the tournament's result show. Leo has such high placings, and a lot of top 8s are populated by Leos, and he's a character that, in my opinion, doesn't really have the highest learning curve. So he's a character that you can actually spend like a couple of weeks or a month just to pick up and start to get decent results. You can't master the character this quickly, but I feel like he's a character that you can pick up and you can start to get results really quickly with him. And I feel like his learning curve is much lower than it was in Exiled. And I feel like every tool that they gave him, even with the nerfs, he's still like a super duper strong character. And he's a problematic. I feel like he's one of the characters that really need to be touched in the upcoming patch. My second strongest character afterwards is Soul Bad Guy. It seems that people think that Soul Bad Guy will fall over time because of his kit, but usually with Shoto characters or like the hero characters in fighting games, they tend to have like all the tools in the game, but they are not really strong in particular one. They call them like Jack of all trades, master of none. Soul is a master of everything. So he has insane buttons, excellent neutral, a good projectile, a command grab, a good DP, some of the best combos in the game, some of the highest damage in the game actually. And he's a character that really like it's fun, to be honest. He's a fun character, but I feel like he's really really strong actually, and he can really turn the tide of a match. And I feel like he has some of the most like insane stagger pressure. He's a character that will test your knowledge in the game, and if you mess up, you will really be like punished badly because of it. So that's why I feel like Sol is a very difficult character to balance, to be honest. But if there's something I want them to do about Sol is maybe just lower his damage a bit and don't make him as freestyle. Like give the other characters more freestyle combos like him and give him like maybe a little bit less corner carry. Because the way that Sol developed, he's insane, to be honest. Third character afterwards is Ramlethal Valentine. Look, I'm a Ramlethal main and I will not be like capping on you guys. Ramlethal is a top tier character, especially in the newest season. So when the character first came out, she felt like she was a little bit lacking because she didn't have like the good pressure and the good tools in the mid screen, and she felt like a character that needs to push her opponent to the corner in order to get some decent results. But with the way that the Rekka were changed in 1.10, she became a monster of a character. So excellent neutral, fast character, the way that she moves, insane buttons, long range, sword pressure, corner, like suffocating corner pressure, really high damage of like some stray hits near the corner. And now she has the Rekka cancels, which can act as a pressure tool, can act as a combo tool, can really like increase the risk. And I feel like, in my opinion, Ramlethal has like the best post-wall break like advantages in the game. She really gets a lot of reward if she breaks the wall, especially after a super, because the way that positive like bonus works in this game right now, she is insane. She regains meter like really quickly, and the way that risk builds up and the way that like chip damage happens in this game. I don't feel like she really needs to mix it up. She just needs to break the wall once, like with the high damaging combos, then she can chip kill you. You know, and the way that like FD is really bad in this game. By the way, my camera is glitching for some reason. Yeah. And the way that really like chip damage works in this game, I don't feel like she needs to comment afterwards. If she has like one weakness, maybe that's why I didn't put her higher than other characters, as the other characters can like they have a really decent DP and they have actually command grabs, so they are more scary, and command grabs in this game are really strong. So that's why I feel like Romlethal is a top 5 character, no capo. You know. The character afterwards is my boy Nagoryuki. I feel like Nagoryuki, he's a character that was complained that he was weak throughout season 1 until Arc System Works decided to make him busted. So Nagoryuki, he's a harder character to play, to be honest, than other characters, and he feels slow. But he has some of the best normals in the game, some of the strongest pressure in my opinion, and I feel like the way that his blood gauge worked, like we felt like it will be hindering him, but the way that they really like improve the way that you can regain like your blood gauge and just avoid like filling it up, I feel like he's really strong. And the more he has blood gauge, the more threatening he becomes, like stronger normals, really high stagger, an excellent command grab, and I feel like he's a character that's really scary to fight because he's really insane in the neutral, and he's a character that can really change the tide of a match, like with one hit, and he has some of the best pressure in the game actually. So yeah, but I feel like he doesn't really compete with the other characters because he needs some more higher learning curve to learn actually, and I feel like he's a character that maybe if you go a little bit too crazy with him, you will be punished dearly for it. And finally, the last character in the complete package is Zetta 1. Some people will tell me, oh Latif, Zetta 1. From my opinion, like the first time I saw him in the new patch, I felt like Zetta is a really strong character. So Zetta can play however he wants in this game. So he either can play like a really strong zoner, or he can play like a really strong like rushdown game with excellent pressure. I feel like in this current patch, like the AD gauge is really generous for him. So I feel like he regains it really quickly, and like the costs of the specials are not really that high. And the way that he can summon and unsummon makes it really rewarding for him to do that. He also has a move that avoids bursts. He has the snakes, the oppose, and he has some good damage. And actually, he has some insane buttons. So he has a good 5p and good 2p. He has a good 5h. He can really do some excellent post-wall break pressure. He can do like the super that regains his AD meter for like insane pressure and insane chip damage. And he's a character that can really mix you up. I feel like he's a strong character. The only thing that's not putting him higher right now is he doesn't have like the easiest learning curve to master because he's a very technical character. And again, the higher tier characters are easier to learn and they have more tools, to be honest, and their gameplay is more straightforward. So that's why I feel like maybe he's not as high as it should be. Okay, now we'll move to the solid tier. Again, these are characters that are strong. They don't have like much obvious weaknesses. However, they still can't compete like with the complete package, and I feel like with some buffs, these characters will become really strong. So the first character in that tier actually is Kai Kiske. I feel like for a character like Kai Kiske, we've been really sleeping on the character. He's insanely strong. He has some of the best neutral in the game. He has a good projectile. He has the shock mechanic, and he has some of the best whiff punishes in the game. And he's a character that doesn't really require like a high learning curve. He's an easy character to pick up, and I feel like the more understanding you have of the game, the better you will do with him, because he's a character that really tests the knowledge of the game. So if you whiff a lot of things, if you make a lot of mistakes, he can really punish. And he's a character that has like one of the best whiff punish tools in the game, which is Stun Dipper. The reason that I didn't put him as a complete package because he starts like to fall off when he starts to fight like the top tiers. Like he's really good at testing game knowledge, but I feel like he gets overwhelmed against stronger characters. But I feel like against the whole cast, he's a character that can fight fairly. Like recently, we're starting to see him like getting better results like in tournaments. But I feel like this is due to the fact that people like now understand the game more. They have more game knowledge. They can play him better. And again, his combos are not really that hard, simple. And he has like obvious uses for his tools. And again, Stun Dipper, Shock Mechanic, a good DP, Dragon Install, So he doesn't really seem like a character that has obvious weaknesses. So that's why I feel like he's this high. The second character afterwards is Giovanna. So for Giovanna, I feel like she has some of the best normals in the game. She has some a very straightforward game plan. She gets really high rewards from her hits. But I feel like the biggest weakness is like for Giovanna for me is like her game plan is very straightforward. So it's basically stagger pressure into like stick throw game, and I feel like that's it. But what makes her like really strong is she has like an insane 2D, very strong buttons that they all feel plus. But I feel like when she starts like really needing to open you up, that's the time that she needs to start to take risks. So if she does like the spin wheel kick, like the one that's up, you can actually anti-air it. If she tries to do like the charge move with the dog, that's the one that you can punish it. But again, like her normals, her pressure, the damage, the fact that she's a very like straightforward character to play, I feel like that's what makes her really strong. And she has like a hidden pseudo DP, so that's why like, I feel like she's really strong. But again, I don't feel like she can compete like with the RAMs and the layers of this game. Yani. But I feel like she's a character, if she maybe gets a little bit more sauce and more conversions for her hits, I feel like she will jump really high in the tier list. And she's a very popular character. Personally, I feel like she's a boring character to play, but again, that's my opinion. Third character afterwards is Mei. Mei is a character that really fell, like the more the game like developed. But I feel like people are abandoning Mei because like the top tiers are just more rewarding to play. But I don't feel like she really fell that hard, and I feel like she's a really strong character. Again, she has a straightforward game plan like Giovanna. She has an insane normals, especially like her 5H, her anchor. She has a command grab. She has good air normals, and she has insane corner damage. So I feel like that's what makes her like a strong character. Her biggest weakness is actually is that she has like shorter normals, and she cannot really play strong neutral like the top tiers or the other characters. So I feel like that's what makes her lacking. I feel like she's a character that wants to frustrate you, and she wants to like to make mistakes. So she will get high roll. But again, I feel like Mei still is an extremely popular character, like overall. But in the top tier competition, I feel like a lot of people abandon her just because there are better characters. But I don't feel like she's that weak that people need to drop her. The next character is Axelot. I feel like Axelot is a very strong zoner. He has some of the best zoning tools in the game. Good normals, good damage, excellent chip damage. But I don't feel like he will go high because of his archetype. Because he has high recovery like on his longer range normals, and if you guess correctly against him, that's the time that he really like starts to fall off. And I feel like when you get close to him, he starts to struggle. He has a good 2K. He has Axel Bomber, but I feel like that doesn't really get him out of trouble. I feel like Axel players, they really need to gamble if they're being pressured, so they will go out. And he really needs to rely on the defensive mechanics of the game just to get out of pressure. But again, the defensive mechanics in this game are not really that strong. So that's why I feel like it. And he also has like the time stop super that can really lead like into either like with punishing people like from full screen or going for insane combos afterwards. But I don't think he's a complete package character. He really struggles once you get closer to him. Finally, the last character in the solid list is Chip. Chip is a character that got weaker patch by patch, and I feel like people abandon him because like there's a lot of like really high risk when you start like to not play him perfectly. I feel like he's a character that you really need to play perfectly in order to win. Like when you play this character perfectly and you do everything correct, he's a very hard character to fight. So he's really fast. He has a DP. He has good stagger normals. He has excellent normals. He has an insane backdash. He has multiple jumps. He has like some really ambiguous mix-ups, especially in the corner. But his biggest weakness actually is his low health. In this game, it takes like 2 to 3 combos to kill. So with a character like Chip, if you land a hit on him like with high risk gauge, like maybe 80% of his like health will be gone. This has been always the case for Chip, but with a game like Strive, health is really important, and he doesn't have any, to be honest. So he's like the true definition of a glass cannon character in this game, and I feel like that's why he really fell off. Like he had better pressure tools like in the previous patches, but with the recent patch, I feel like people are not really bothering to play him. He's a good counter pick character in my opinion, but other than that, I feel like he should not be made. Okay, we'll move now to the has flaws tiers. So these are characters that are still strong, but they have obvious weaknesses. And I don't think you can really win tournaments with these characters. You have to pick another character like from those top row in here so you can actually survive, especially if you want to go like to top 8s. So the first character actually is Amelia Rage. So Amelia Rage is somehow similar to Chip. However, she lacks some of his tools. She doesn't really have an extra jump. She doesn't have a DP to get her out of trouble, and she still has really, really low health. The nice thing about Amelia is she has like the most insane like mix-up OK in the game, and she really can really turn she can really turn the tide of matches if she manages to get one knockdown. My biggest problem with Amelia is that her neutral is not really the best in the game, and she really doesn't get like from maximum range like good OK or conversions, and she explodes really easily, and she doesn't really have like the good normals just to challenge in neutral. So I feel like she's a character that really needs to be annoying. She needs to be mobile all the time, but if she messes up, she dies really, really quickly. A similar character to her actually is Ino. Ino, I feel like she's a very confusing character for me because I don't like the character. So I want to be as objective as I can. I feel like her biggest strength actually is that when she mixes you up, she's really plus, and she's really like very hard to get off you. But her biggest weakness actually is the fact that her movement is very set. So basically the way that she hovers and like her movement overall, it makes her really predictable in neutral. I feel like her neutral is really, really weak, and she really needs to rely like on like her 2H, for example, or her 5-6P just to get people off her. But I feel like once she gets in your face, it's really, really hard to deal with a character like Ino. And I feel like Ino is more carried by her players than her actual design. Again, and weak neutral and very poor defensive tools and strong mix-up. I feel like this is the theme for a lot of characters that have flaws in this game. Next character is Potemkin. I feel like Potemkin should be higher, honestly, but the thing is, I feel like what makes Potemkin like a really strong character and at the same time a very flawed character is his design as a grappler. He's very slow. He doesn't really have like the best defense when you get near him. However, though, because of the way that damage is really high in this game, Garuda and how strong command grabs are in this game, I feel like that's what makes him really threatening. Potemkin is a character that needs to guess right maybe twice, and he will win the match. However, he really needs sometimes to gamble, and I feel like corner pressure, Potemkin is really insane now, especially like with Garuda, command grabs. He's a very scary character actually to fight, and Mega Fist is actually pretty strong in this game. It has a very weird hitbox, but again, because he's a grappler, he doesn't have the best movement. He doesn't really contest at longer ranges, and I feel like he loses when you put on him like strong pressure. But I could be wrong, and there are like some really strong Potemkin players, but I don't see him a character that can beat, like for example, Happy Chaos. I don't think he can beat a character like Ram. He cannot deal with a character like Zetta. So yeah, that's why. Next character is God Lewis. God Lewis, I feel like he's super strong at the time he's super weak. So his pressure is very hard to deal with. It is insane chip damage, and he's a character that can really kill in one combo. I feel like he's a character that's really high risk, high reward. I feel like this is like his best like definition. I feel like his biggest weakness is because he's really super slow. His neutral is really lacking, and he's a very low speed character, and he doesn't really have the best defense unless he has like 50 meter. But when it comes like to his stagger pressure, guard break pressure, his insane combo conversions, Behemoth Typhoon, the way that it was balanced, and with the nice additions in Season 1.0 for his buffs, I feel like he's a really high risk, high reward character. But that's what makes him really fatal, like his fatal flaw actually. That's why I don't feel like he can compete higher. And we see like good players like doing good results with him, but there's no way this character is beating a Ram properly, or he's beating a Happy Chaos, or he's beating an Axel. He has a lot of really tough matchups that we need to overcome. Finally, Jacko. I feel like the theme of this like has flaws, like excellent offense, terrible defense. I feel like for Jacko, she lost a lot with her conversion to Strife, so she doesn't really get the same things that she used to do in Axar. And I feel like they balance her around the way of like gaining 50 meter, like summoning a lot of minions, than doing one of the install supers and just going ham with it. But I feel like her neutral is really lacking the way she plays. Her defense also is weak, and she is not a character that's really straightforward, and she has a very high learning curve. And I feel like that's what really makes her maybe not worth learning for that time being. I feel like she needs little bit more buffs to her neutral. She needs a better reliable reversal to get out of things. And I feel like she's a character, if they improve the defensive mechanics of the game, she will go higher than this. But I feel like she needs to like do a lot where other characters they really can do much less things and get higher rewards than her. So that's why I feel like Jacko is a very flawed character by design. And finally, we'll talk about the flawed characters. So in here, we'll be putting four characters, basically. I think you know them already, but let's order them. Something I forgot to mention is this tier list actually is ordered. So the first character is Baiken. I feel like Baiken has a similar case like Jacko. She lost a lot when they convert her into Stripe. So again, she has good offense. She has a good counter. But again, I feel like her neutral is a little bit lacking, and I feel like if you manage to learn how to deal with her like counter, I feel like her defense is really terrible. She doesn't get like easy conversions like from longer ranges, and she's a character that also needs to gamble or to risk in order to get a high reward. But she has also a very high learning curve in my opinion, and I feel like with some buffs she can really jump higher in the tier list. And I feel like her tether mechanic is can be really strong for her, but if she makes one mistake against some of the characters, she can die because of her tools. And that's something that I really don't like about Baiken. I feel like she's a character that needs to risk a lot to get reward. And in a game like characters that don't really need to risk things to get high rewards, they can just easily, do whatever they want. The next character actually is Angie. I feel like Angie, all of his tools, they seem strong, but every single one of his tools has a fatal flaw. So for example, his spinning thing, you can grab it. His fusion pressure, each one of them is easy to see, and they're not really true plus on block, You can really react to Angie. And I feel like he's a character that really needs to play really, really, really risky, and he needs to really, really frustrate you, so he can actually gain some rewards out of his game plan. He has high damage, but again, I don't feel like his defense is the best, and I feel like his design is flawed in this game. I feel like they really need to improve him. But I feel like if they buff his fusion pressure and those things, I feel like he will become insane. And I feel like he's a very difficult character to balance. But right now in his current state, he has no advantages. Every single tool that he has a glaring flaw. And hopefully they will fix him, because a lot of people seem to like Angie. Personally, I'm not the biggest fan, but hopefully they will do something about it. Next character is Testament. I feel like when it came to Testament, I feel like Arc System Works, they didn't really know what they want to do with the character. The character seems solid on paper, but every single tool they have, it doesn't really have a clear benefit or a clear use. So for example, the projectiles, they might seem strong, but again, I feel like with stronger characters, they can deal with the projectiles easily. The curse pressure thingy that they throw the fairy or the succubus that puts the curse mark on it. You can't really control where it goes. You have to set up a projectile so it will go wherever you want. So you don't really need to think that much with stronger characters. So they want you to think a lot with Testament. Also, a lot of the tools that they have, you don't really feel like they are part of a complete package, and you don't feel like that this character has a specific game plan in mind. I feel like they give them zoning, but it's not really strong zoning. Then they gave them pressure, it's not the best pressure. And I don't feel like you yet have the ability to tie everything together, to formulate a game plan. Maybe we're not exploring the character enough, but I feel like if there's one character that they need to think about reworking, maybe it's Testament. Because current game plan is unclear. I don't feel like the tools, they make sense together, and I feel like every single tool like Angie, it has a certain flaw. But at least for Angie, you know how you're supposed to play the character. Maybe we didn't explore Testament enough, especially since they're the final DLC of the game. But again, I don't know. I don't feel like they're really strong in this game. And finally, Faust. Faust, he's a very confusing character for me, because I feel like his tools should be strong, his normal should be strong, like item mechanics should be strong, but everything about Faust feels random. So for example, he cannot really control the order of the items. He cannot say which item he will get next. So that makes him like a character that really needs to react to whatever tool that the game decides to give him. The other thing is that he doesn't really have high damage like the other characters, so he doesn't really get much reward out of landing normals. He doesn't really have the best anti-air. I feel like all his normals can be challenged, and he doesn't really have throw like mix-ups like the other characters. So he has like the crow thingy, but every single crow is weak unless he is willing to spend meter to get things out of it. But I feel like he's a character that doesn't really get rewarded, and I feel like for a character like Faust, he is really carried by the players. He's not carried by the game. I feel like a character like Faust, he really needs a lot of buffs to become viable. So give him better normals, give him higher damage, let him see which item he will get on the screen, like in the lower bar, like Platinum from Blazeblow, and I feel like that's the time that he will actually be stronger. So yeah, guys, that's it. That's how I feel like about the current season of Guilty Gear Strive. Feel free to let me know in the comment section below if you agree, if you will make any changes, and I hope that things will be shaken up in Season 2, and I really hope that the characters that are really flawed, they will get buffs, and I really hope that we will get some improvements to the system mechanics of the game, because right now I feel like the way that the top tiers are playing in this game, it's a very frustrating game to deal with some characters, and I feel like we'll talk about the mechanics in a separate video. But if the balance stays the same, I feel like the top tiers will continue to dominate in Season 2, sorry, and I hope they really shake things up. Yalla guys, as always, thank you for watching, and I'll catch you next video. Peace.